Hello students, welcome to my class. Today, since I have already started, this is chapter 3 about our constitution and what are the right that we have got, and we have discussed in our previous class about the fundamental rights, and here we have also discussed about the characteristics of the fundamental rights, and under this subheading we have discussed about the around 4 points with regard to the characteristics of the fundamental rights. Next, we have got about the classification of the fundamental rights. Now, in this area, I have discussed about the right to equality, and you have understood about the right to equality means what exactly the citizens of India actually enjoys in the form of equality. And secondly, we have discussed about the right to freedom. So, what exactly the right to freedom is practiced by the people of India, and how much freedom we have got, and then in a which situation we can't use our freedom. So this liberty that we are utilizing by ourselves, it is a we can say that in some extent when there is an emergency occurring, then at that time this freedom is not practiced by the citizens of our country. So that is we have discussed in our previous class. The third point we have discussed about the right against exploitation. So in this regard we have talked about the giving the safeguard of the children, and also we should be especially the constitution of India is preventing the bonding labor that earlier it was actually practicing by the British rule when there was no human right by our Indians. And then we have already also talked about the slavery system over here, and then human trafficking, and also part of the engagement the children, especially in the industry and in the factory working, and also in the mining. So these are the few things that we have discussed in our previous class. So today I will talk about the right to freedom of religion. Now when we talk about the right to freedom of religion, here being a country like India, here we are actually belonging to the country like a secular country. So it is a secularism is practiced over here. So in the secular country, the religion is not actually compulsory. Religion, there should not be a religion, in fact, in the secular country. So here, in spite of having the diverse cultures and religions and people, tribals, and many other visitors, long back coming to this country and then settling over here, then you can't make them to practice the same religion what the originally found in India. So that's why here right to freedom of religion is given to each community to practice their religion, not interfering on others matter. But today, for example, we can see in a different occasions, many of the political parties are coming and provoking the people and propagating the people to violate the other's religion, to fight, and many other things are happening in the street and the country. So here let us see what exactly the right to freedom of religion is, what the sense actually making us to know. So here, being a secular nation, our country actually does not actually subscribe any one religion, and grants equal respect and freedom to all the religions practiced in the country. So it does so by allowing the people to profess, practice, and then you can propagate the religion of their own choice. So these are the things are there, and yet you can find in the country is many of the, so that is many people in fact they are trying to preventing blocking and creating some sort of havoc for the other community, and creating the some sort of problem in the country, and these are all actually the loss of the all the religions belonging to our country. Why? Because politicians usually they bring the issue which actually one community may suffer and the other community may enjoy the placement. So that's why we have to understand here. So therefore it does so because it allows the people to profess, practice, and propagate the religions of their own choice. And additionally, while it allows every religion to establish and maintain religious institutions to manage their religious affairs, and it prohibits the institutions funded by the government to impart religious education. So we have to understand that in the country, any of the like institutions are not funded by the our government. It may say any religious places. Suppose the government is funding, then that is not actually suitable, not required for the country. So therefore, we need the institution through which the government way of following the any of the practices. So that is we have to see it. So we can understand about that any of the religious institutions are managing by themselves. It is not the government interfering in between or in the matter of the private sector especially. So next we have got cultural and educational rights. Now what is a cultural and educational right we can think of? Now when we talk about the cultural and educational right here, especially in India, you will see that it is like a land of the diverse cultures, a land of the different linguistic people we find here. Different languages people are using it. And then today, for example, in India, we have got so many languages, and around 18 to 19 languages are given as a like our national language, is it not? And here when we talk about the regional language, here there are many of the regional languages. Each state may be having around 25 to 35 languages in each state. So here how people are actually living and behaving. So due to the diversity of this country, especially our India, we can see that there are various groups in our country that follow their distinct cultural elements, such as like a language and a script. And in order to enable these groups to protect and preserve their unique culture, and constitution of the India has provided them especially the cultural and the educational right. So cultural and educational right is given to this community, so that they can be prevented, they can be protected by from the different agents of destruction. So here under this right actually you can find that they are entitled to establish and maintain their educational institution in order to preserve their unique culture. So here through the education, through the institution, the culture and things should be the maintaining very systematically. So that is we have to think of. Then the third right is about right to constitutional remedies. When we talk about the constitutional remedies, so any of the law, for example, you belong to the different fundamental rights, the different fundamental duties that you are fulfilling. And during this time, suppose you can find that there are people who are actually preventing you, means they are causing you problem. They are like a kind of like removing your right, or they are interfering you. So in such situations you can approach the court, because here the justice is given through the court only, because when your right is violated. So therefore, in response to the petitions of the aggrieved, the court can issue special orders to the government, and thus the Fundamental Rights Act as a protector of the other fundamental rights. So this is one of the protection that is actually you will be getting. So these are all the right that we have got. So is it clear now, all of you, that there are 6 rights? So more you can learn about this right. So let us know about now implementation of the fundamental rights. Now how we can implement? Now see, despite the inclusion of the fundamental rights in the Constitution of India, a lot is yet to be achieved. India achieved many things, but at the same time India still is under development, under construction, undergoing these changes. So it means you can see some example, for example, although the practice of untouchability, though we have got long back, is it not? Around 1955 only we have already tried to remove this particular area untouchability, and yet these particular things are actually existing and is still going on in the different society when we go to the city or town or even in the rural area. Okay, so in spite of this law was actually already implemented in the year of 1955, and yet this discrimination, especially untouchability, is found in the society, and it is existing up to now. And people are trying to remove this one, and we can find these are the things are done, especially the people who are particularly they belong to the scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, and many other part of this people are actually where behave that way. So this is one of the like that even though we are implementing and yet the things are not practicing. Another area we can understand about the children under the age of like 14, we have already discussed that under the age of 14 they should be sent to the school, but you can see the society is and yet they are asking the children to be employed in the work, sending them to the mining, sending them to the factory, and many of the children are begging and then doing the hard labor. Especially when you look at the slum area and all, you can find many of the boys and girls are actually collecting the bottles, collecting the plastics, the wrappers, then cardboard, hardboard, many other things are they are engaging themselves in working and gathering the things and all. You can see that some situation we can very clearly in the town and city also. So it is not that only the in rural areas children are actually working, but you can see more in the city and town also. These are things are happening. So that's why how the government is having eyes on that and trying to prevent it, this kind of activity that is taking place. So such cases of the child labor deprive of children of their right to education, and then thereby you can see the opportunities to realize their full potential. It may say there are many potentialities there in the human being, but these are the not actually exposed, not implemented in the country. As a result of this unnecessary child labors are actually done in different areas. So that is we can understand. So however we cannot only blame the government for the like unequal implementation of the fundamental rights. That is say we are always blaming the government, but at the same time the society where we belong to, especially our religious communities, are also part of this responsibility. They are actually lacking. It means they are not taking care of that area also. So we also have to see them. So here the lack of political awareness and a knowledge of the entitlement among the general masses, and encourages the practices of discrimination within the society. So it is one of the like our fundamental duties to preserve the unity and integrity of our nation by renouncing practices that sow the seeds of inequality in the society. So as long as these two areas we will not focus, it means this inequality will be taking place, and child labor will be taking place, and untouchability, these are the practices will be keep on going. It will be persisting even in the next generation, and this will invade in the mind of the even the present generation, and it will remain for the next generation. So such kind of activities are actually should be avoided, should be prevented by the this society, so that we can be always be happy in the life. Next we have the fundamental like duties. Now we talk about the how the implementation should be done. Now we will be talking about the fundamental duties. Now see, there are many fundamental duties, like number one fundamental duties we have got, that is about abide by the Constitution of India and respect its ideals and institutions, national flag, national anthem. Second part, we have to understand, cherish and follow the noble ideals which inspired the freedom struggle of our nation. Third one, we have to understand, uphold and safeguard the sovereignty, then unity and integrity of the country. Fourth one is defend the country and render national service when called upon to do so. Then fifth one is promote harmony and brotherhood among people, irrespective of their religion, language, and regional and sectional diversity. Then sixth one is a renounce derogatory practices against the dignity of women. Then seventh one is a value and preserve the rich cultural heritage of our country. Then eighth one value and protect and improve the national environment, including forests, lakes, rivers, and wildlife. Then ninth one, we be compassionate for living creatures. You can see there. Then tenth one, develop the scientific temper, humanism, humanism, and the spirit of inquiry and reform. So these are the very important part. Then 11, 12 one, protect public property and renounce violence. So this is another important thing we need to care of. Here, with this regard, I want to talk about there's a protect public property and renounce violence. Now you see, in any of the violence is taking place, most of the time public, what they look for the buses, they look for the truck, they look for the auto, they look for the any of the vehicles comes on their way, and they put the fire in the vehicle. And at the same time also you can find that they break the institution like schools, factories. Then you can see that they also put the fire in a different like which is a part of the like a oil refinery, or something like a related with the industries or godowns. So such kind of activity people are doing, and they are thinking about that our country is great. So in this regard, I want to talk to you a little bit elaborate way. In my next video, I will talk about that how our Indians during the independence and during the Republic Day, how they are sending that we love our country, but that is only in the black and white letter, in the WhatsApp and in the Facebook, Twitter, and in the Instagram. But in reality, we don't see them the love and a concern for the country. Why? Because during the agitation, you will see that most of the damages is done. Most of the public properties are actually broken by these people only. So how they love the country. So we are actually the one of the like a wild beast, kind of like a wild beast that is actually existing in India. So however you are educating yourself, but ultimately you are behaving as like an animal, breaking, and every way of things are shattering. It means we are damaging the public property. You know, once you damage the public property, who is going to lose for that? Actually, we ourselves are losing. It is not aware, but that's why we need to follow up the country like Japan. The country like Japan, they never do any kind of like a damage to any of the areas, because they know that damaging it will cost money, it will cost a huge investment. So that's why they don't do that. Even in the industry, suppose they are not getting the good salary, to protest against the industry, they never go and stop the making. They make the one part and they leave the other part. It means they make one. Suppose they are making the one pair of slipper, they make only one slipper, and the other one they will not make, and they will go for the protest. Because once your protest is successful, then when you come back from your home to the factory, the other part you can make, and you can supply, and you can earn more faster. So that is the how we can see the other part of the worlds are actually that way doing, not like our country India breaking the things, breaking the public bodies, shattering the everywhere, and then so much of like saying that we love our country. So that is a false love, kind of like a wildlife which is behaving. Okay, so anyway, so this is one of the area that I would like to talk to you. Then strive towards excellence in every field of personal and collective activities, so that the nation constantly rises towards higher level of the development. Then again, provide educational development, especially provide educational opportunities to the children between the age of 6 and 14 years. Okay, so these are the few things we have to talk about. Next, we have the importance of the fundamental duties. Why it is important for us? Now, fundamental duties are actually important part of our Constitution of India, as they serve various purposes. They supplement the fundamental rights by reminding us that while enjoying our rights, we should also be aware of our duties towards the other citizens of our country. So they infuse the citizens with a sense of responsibility, patriotism, and a brotherhood. So these are the few things we have to keep in mind. Despite being not enforceable by law, they outline the measures that we can adopt the contribute towards the overall development of our country as well as ourselves. So they teach us to respect the uh, ideals upheld by our leaders and freedom fighters, then who sacrificed their actually lives for the freedom of our country. So that one also we have to keep in mind. And they also strive to make our country a harmonious country, free from all kinds of discrimination, prejudice, then inequalities. So few things very important points, especially when we talk about the fundamental duties. That's why these are the few things are very important points for us. So we all of us strive hard to be acquired all these areas, and we can be always good for the our country, and we can work harder for the country, and not to break the, not to destroy the, not to ruin the country's property. Because when we ruin the country, it means we not belong to this country. So once you belong to this country, you need to love every bit of things that we have got. Either it is in the form of like a construction, in the form of parks, in the form of like a museum, in the form of like a cinema hall, in the form of like a industry, in the form of like a swimming pool, anywhere, everywhere, we need to respect it. We should be very much like a caring about our property, so that our country can progress, and it will prosper sooner into a like a superpower country. So this is the thing we have to keep in mind. So okay students, today I will just leaving you ending these chapters. So I'll be giving you the question answers in the next class. So thank you, and have a great day ahead.